Ask Alec.
What's up, guys, and welcome to an episode of Ask Alec from the beautiful desert of Palm Springs. Of course, with New Year's coming up, I get a lot of questions about my New Year's resolutions. Today, I'd like to talk to you about how to make 2017 an awesome year and some cool ways to sort of hack making resolutions that I think will help give you a better chance of success and make them really worth pursuing. So first of all, the question really was, do I have a New Year's resolution? What is it and why? Well, I don't normally do New Year's resolutions, and it's not that I don't necessarily plan for things or have goals or set out goals that I try to accomplish, but I don't correlate them with an arbitrary time of the year like New Year's. I just find that if I don't have something that is actually really important to me that I want to do in this specific moment, then I don't arbitrarily make a goal or, a betterment of my personality or behavior or whatever it is I'm trying to improve just because it's arbitrarily New Year's. Right? I don't find that those things actually work. It's sort of tantamount to someone else telling you, hey, you should do this, and then you're doing it not because of intrinsic motivation, but just because, someone else told you so. And that's really not the best reason or the best likelihood that you're going to succeed in making a big change. Especially because New Year's resolutions are generally something that you don't necessarily want to go through the effort of doing, right? The common one is like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, sure, but if you're not extremely, self-motivated to actually make all the sacrifices it takes to go through those, loops and jump through those hoops to change your diet, change your lifestyle, start exercising, get up early, etc., then it's probably not going to happen. And especially if it's not coming from a place of self-desire, it's just coming from like, hey, it's New Year's, I think I should do this. So I don't correlate my resolutions with an arbitrary time of the year, but I do have a lot of resolutions that I make, and it might be like February 17th, just because that's the time that I feel like I accomplished one goal and I'm really inspired to move on to the next one. And I'll talk to you about the process I use that I think is really, really important. So I just, this actually comes from a coaching lesson I had with a client of mine recently that really kind of drove this process home in seeing it work with another person, not just on my own self-experimentation. We were talking about something that he really wanted to accomplish, and he felt like he had a lot of struggle in putting in the time to get to this goal that he wanted to do. And in his case, it happened to be going to a big poker tournament, right? He wanted to travel and go to like a big tournament and play, some high stakes buy-in, save up 10 grand and go to this awesome event, play a WPT, etc. But it was really hard. He was finding a lot of difficulty in his motivation to set out the time to grind for this event and set aside the money he needed to and sort of make the sacrifices that it takes to block out time and money and resources to go to a big WPT event. So we got into talking a little bit more, and through a little bit of questioning and some of the process, I learned that this wasn't ultimately something that was really, really his number one priority. It was something that he felt like he should do because it was at a place in his poker career where it was I've been really successful, I've accomplished a lot, and this is, I feel like it's the next step. I feel like this is what I should be doing, right? And a lot of the times people make goals, it's not necessarily things that are their number one priority, or it's not necessarily things that they think that they would want to have, but it's the things that they settle for, or it's the things that they're told by others that they should do, or they're feel compelled to do because of pressure from society or friends or parents. In the case of my client, it was a situation where it was just not the number one priority for him. And ultimately, we talked about what would it be that would be awesome. Describe to me a scenario that if you had $1 billion and you never had to work again, or you were retired, what would you do in that scenario? And you probably might have heard that question before, what would you do with $100 million? But that's a great place to start with trying to discover what it is that's really meaningful and important that you should be focused on, right? Because when you remove the obstacle of money, or you remove the obstacle of being constrained by the amount of free time you have, then you're sort of free to think objectively about what the things are that you would actually like to do. So if you just say, okay, I had an unlimited amount of time and an unlimited amount of resources, what is it that I would pursue? And that's really the thing that I think is the thing that you should pursue. That's the thing that you should strive for, and that's the most likely reason that you're going to achieve your goal, by pursuing something that actually is worth making all the sacrifice in order to do. So most of the times when I find in myself through experimentation or working with clients, it's if they're struggling to make a goal work, it's because the sacrifices that you need to make to get where you want to go aren't worth the effort because the goal isn't big enough or important enough. And most of the time people are well, I got to do something that's realistic. But the problem with realistic is that you're not necessarily willing to make sacrifices to get something that's like your third priority, or that's just like mediocre or not that exciting. And I'll give you an example from my life, right? A lot of the times that I'm saying to myself, well, okay, I want to take, a lot of times I work for something, it's because I want to take free time off and not work during a specific period of time and take, a lot of time off to travel. Traveling is really what I love doing. You probably see I make videos and all around the world, and I truly love traveling. So some of the time I'm like, well, and this happened in the past when I was younger, I was like, well, I want to take a week or two off and go travel Italy, right? And that would be something that's really cool. But I found that like to save up to do that and to block out the time to do that and to make that goal a reality required, 80% of the amount of work and effort and sacrifice than it did to say, okay, I want to take 3 months or 6 months off and go to Italy. But the difference in satisfaction between the former and the latter is 20 times or 10 times, whereas the difference in effort is not that much bigger. And you can say, yes, it's harder to take 6 months off, and sure it is, but at the same time, you're still, uprooting your life, you're still going somewhere, you're still saving up a bunch of money, you're still planning this entire thing out, but to have the reward of something that is really life-changing, or something that's just exciting but not like ultimately what is, it's more realistic, the former one, I found it much harder to actually make the sacrifices to accomplish those things. And I've noticed this in like all facets of my life, right? Like I feel like getting in decent shape is harder than getting in excellent shape, because getting in decent shape, you're still not that satisfied. You're like, well, okay, I look okay, but I still, want to lose 5 or 7 more pounds. But I feel like looking like a complete rock star with your shirt off is easier, because it's actually worth all the sacrifice of getting up early and going to the gym, etc. And I find this in every single goal that I make, and in the times that I challenge others to really think about the situation for themselves. So if there's something you want to work on, like whatever it is your New Year's resolution is, I mean, it's sort of arbitrary to make a New Year's resolution just because it's January 1st. You should be doing it all year long. Like why let the calendar dictate when you want to accomplish something in your life? That's kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, if you are making a New Year's resolution, make it something that is unrealistic. Make it something that is really worth going through all the bullshit to actually accomplish. And I challenge you to do something that's ultimately worth doing. So leave me a comment below. Let me know what your typical New Year's resolution is, like your realistic one, and then let me know the one that, like, if you had nobody was watching, or you had unlimited resources, unlimited time, what it is that you would do. And I think that if you really map these things out, that's really like the key actionable step, is not just saying it, but then actually like writing out a little bit of a plan. All right, so leave a comment below, leave like 2 or 3 things that you're gonna do like today and tomorrow and next week to make this reality, and like just put 1 foot forward, right? I think most people underestimate what they could do in a long period of time, and they sort of overestimate what they could do in a short period of time. So just be a little bit patient, don't expect results in the next like week. But if you have something that's really worth doing and you're patient and you work a little bit towards it, like an inch every day, you'll get there, and just make something that is worth all the sacrifice to have. That's something that'll be ultimately like badass or life-changing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me a comment below. I'm curious to see what y'all's resolutions are. I'm not really setting one specifically this year to answer the guy's question. I don't have one that I'm specifically doing on January 1st, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Anyway, if you like this video, share it with someone you think would benefit, and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate that. I'll see you guys next time on Ask Alec. Happy New Year, everybody. Cheers.